Watershed Assessment 3. This is for Mash Fork, again in Camp Creek State Park, located in Mercer County, West Virginia. This is a map. The green outline is the state park, and the white line you see here, this is the Mash Fork itself. So classification, the stream length is 28,874 feet. The valley length is 28,295 feet. The slope, the channel slope is 0.026 feet by foot, and the valley slope is 0.009 foot by foot. It has a slightly entrenched score of 5.7. The site has a little erosion problems down at the bottom end of the stream, but the channel generally easily spills over its banks in a flood event. Beehives. So it has a well-established riparian community, dominated by small to large cobble. The score was 17, which is considered a low. This correlates to observations in the field. The forest is managed and allowed to grow naturally with snags and root systems well established. So for conservation purposes, from the waterfall down to the drainage where it meets Camp Creek, there is some slight problems. So in order to keep this stream to the high quality that we expect a reference stream to be, this reach could use some work. That shaded out area, that white polygon there, that's a campground. So it's a paved surface that leads pretty much right up to the edge of the creek. This could use some work. Here is a view of that campsite. As you can see, there's some impervious surface, and it runs straight up to the creek bed. So possibly extending this whole area here, making this a forest again would be beneficial. Discussion. The site is not in need of restoration, but since it is a reference stream, some measures can be made towards conservation. The map shows the site of the campground at the bottom of the stream. This relatively large area is a paved parking lot with scattered campsites and little canopy cover. There's also a road on the other side for access to the handicapped trout fishing section and the shooting range. You can't drive your cars clear to the shooting range unless you work at the park. On either side of the stream in these areas, there's a little to no riparian vegetation. Measures need taken to establish more sufficient riparian community on the bank on the road side. The campground needs forested area as well as riparian vegetation. This would allow for a gradual transition between the campground, forest, riparian zone, and then the stream, buffering to a small extent any disturbances to this section. I think if for this conservation project, I think we could compare different sections of the stream to each other. My hypothesis would be the lower portion of the stream, lower section where the campground lies, there would be a significant difference in the bug community and possibly water quality data. So improving this area, I think we could, again, place a buffer in the form of making sure the riparian community is established along the creek bed, and then also erosion control. In terms of erosion control, reestablishing the forest up to the riparian zone would be beneficial as well. So.